In this video, we're going to take our first look at XanoZip functionality and add our static images into a zip file resource.